Mr. Reed, you sent an email to a parent the other day, and whilst is that I can appreciate your use of the English language, I can see that you were a little bit. It's like you're showing off your English language skills. This is not a place for you to show off your English language skills because you were a little bit too verbose with the parent and blah blah blah. And I'm like, first of all, you called the meeting because I was insubordinate for stepping out of a meeting I was uncomfortable in. How did it get to my use of the English language and whether or not I am efficient? Sat there and I listened. And we spoke about the situation, and I was like, listen, people, I am not here to challenge authority. I am simply here to challenge the system that gave you the authority to believe that you can speak to me a particular way and get away with it. It doesn't work like that. So if it is that you need to dismiss me from this post, then please be my guest. And so they did. But before that, people, I went home the weekend and I saw my post being advertised I saw my post in the Gleaner the Sunday evening. So I reached out to the HOD and I was like, did somebody leave? She was like, oh, she doesn't know about that. And I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. I got the gist. So I then decided to apply for a next job. I got called the Sunday evening for an interview on the Monday morning for the job. To the interview for the job, got the job, and then went to work. I was leaving work. I was being called, but I did not pick the call. So the Tuesday, I went in and I was told that I had a memo random to pick up. I went to the principal's office, saw the secretary. She was like, oh, this memo is for you. I read it and I was like, I'm not accepting this memo because the moment I walk out of here with this memo, I am agreeing to the terms and conditions of same. There are a few things that need to be fixed. I will be sending you an email because one, in the memo, the VP said that the only reason he didn't have any evidence when I asked for it was because I made a one-time post on social media or a one view or whatever you call it, and he was not able to gain access to it, and all sorts of other things that just weren't aligning with the factual details. Wednesday morning when I went to work, the young man who was co-form teacher with me, he usually parked at a different spot, but then he was parked in my spot that morning. I was like, okay, cool, interesting. Please note, people, I was going to leave anyway because I'd already gotten the other job. I went to my class. When I went to my class, I saw the HOD with this young lady, and she was like, Mr. Reed, the principal would like to talk to you. And she left the young lady in the class. She was introducing herself as their new English language teacher. And I went to the meeting with the HOD, the principal, and she was like, oh, Mr. Reed, what you've done is not accepted. You've been insubordinate twice, and we're not going to tolerate it, blah, blah, blah. I got a letter, to which I will also post here. Outlining why I was being fired or why my contract was being terminated. I was like, all right, cool, no problem, I understand. But I'm just saying that it's funny how they were quick to terminate my contract because of a social media post I made that, according to them, was defamatory, derogatory, and compromised the integrity of the institution. But I remember quite explicitly one of my students from grade 7 posted a picture of his private area in Google Classroom. I made a report about it, brought him to the office. Nothing really was done. Up to this day, I've not met with the parents or anything like that to discuss such a behavior. Like, that behavior was not derogatory, I guess. But at the same time, you know what? It's just how the system is set up. And I would have had a similar experience at Kingston College. I've been at quite a few schools because usually when I go to an institution and me realize, say, yo, I might not be fitting into, well, I'm going to leave. And I did have the intention to leave, but I was also happy they fired me because they did in order to align me with much greater opportunities, you know? So life happens, but I just wanted really to talk about this experience so that other people could be inspired perhaps. So I'm just saying that you have to stay steadfast, you have to remain focused, remain consistent, remain consistently and authentically you as well. Do not allow people to subject you to mediocrity when it comes to how they treat you and how you ought to be treated. That's all I'm going to say. Thanks for tuning in.